Hello, everyone. We're back with another episode of LMScast. I'm Joshua Millage, and I'm joined, like I am every day, with Christopher Badgett. We are broadcasting to you, not live, but somewhat live, from Santa Cruz and Whitefish, Montana, right, Chris?
Yeah.
Cool. Well, we love LMS systems. We love WordPress. And today is actually a really good episode for me because I don't know the answers to some of the questions I'm going to be posing for Chris. And really, what we're trying to figure out is the WordPress LMS plugin do's and don'ts. Like, what is it that we should be focused on when we're looking at LMS plugins? How many plugins should we be stringing together? Is that a good idea? Is that a bad idea? I'm not really that technical. As you know, Chris. And so for me, it just makes sense. Like, I'm going to go get this plugin to do this and that plugin to do that. And it all seems fine and dandy to me. I mean, why not? They're plugins, string them together, see what happens. But I've learned from your kind, generous teaching, as well as Mark and Tom, that that's not always a great idea. There's some disadvantages to that. So give me the top level, high kind of bird's eye view of how we should be looking at LMS plugins and how we should be considering building like this bulletproof foundation of an online school or online course system.
Well, let me back up and first start with when you're learning WordPress and you start building WordPress sites, or you're hiring development, design, marketing teams to do it for you, a more beginner person, if you're doing it yourself, or a beginner agency, they may be very quick when you pose a question to be like, can we make the website do X? That be like, oh, let me search and see if there's a plugin for that.
Mm-hmm.
And plugins on the WordPress repository, there's some that are like extremely popular and almost ubiquitous. And there's others that come out, they're great ideas at the time, but the developer behind them like stops supporting it. And you'll see a lot of plugins on WordPress that haven't been updated in over 2 years. So not all plugins are created equal. And there's like a core group of plugins outside of learning management systems that I almost always recommend and always use. And to give a couple examples of those, one of them is Akismet, which comes when you install WordPress to prevent spam. Another one is WordPress SEO by Yoast. And then, those are really like core plugins, and anything else is really extra. And you don't even need the SEO plugin if you don't plan on investing time into, developing your SEO. But to tell the story of LifterLMS, the plugin, the WordPress Learning Management System plugin that we built here at CodeBox, we decided to make that a plugin and not a theme because it's really all about functionality. And we built it in a way that it can work with any well-coded WordPress theme. And we also, a lot of times people don't realize this with certain themes or plugins, that the plugin developer or theme developer has actually bundled all these other plugins inside of it to make it look as if it does, that it does more. And it's not that they're doing a bad thing. They're just taking some shortcuts to getting functionality quickly into their plugin. So we were very intentional about how we created LifterLMS, in that we didn't bundle or, sneak in some plugins for our functionality. We're building everything from the ground up, and we're very conscious about what additional things we're going to integrate with. Two examples. One of them would be WooCommerce. We know WooCommerce is really popular. LifterLMS has its own e-commerce system that's really amazing and designed specifically for WordPress LMS, but we know a lot of people use WooCommerce and like it and want to integrate with it. So we did add to our plugin to allow that to happen. Same thing with BuddyPress, which is a social networking plugin for WordPress. But really, at the end of the day, when you're building a WordPress learning management system, you don't want to get to a point where you have 10 or 20 or 30 or even 50 plugins going, because the opportunity for conflict and the complexity involved in opening up, just the door to plugins not getting updated or whatever, it's just not a road worth going down. And at the end of the day, if you need like 40 different plugins, you might actually be putting too much functionality in your site, because at the end of the day, it's about learning. And LifterLMS has the core foundational pieces you need. And of course, if you want to integrate something unique to your situation, go for it. Use Gravity Forms to do a survey, or use other plugins, but make sure they're well respected.
Mm-hmm. I would just want to speak out to anyone who's like me out there. It's like sometimes I get plugin mania. Like, just because I can install a plugin, I want to. Like, it's not that it's a good idea, but I'm like, ooh, that sounds fun. Boom, I plug that in, plug that in, plug that in, plug that in. I'm like 40 plugins deep, and then all of a sudden something crashes. I got the white screen of death. I can't even log in. And then I'm paying somebody to help me go figure out a PHP area on some random line. And it's just because I got plugin crazy, you know? And so if anyone resonates with that story, my suggestion is have a separate WordPress install to have your plugin craziness on, but don't do that to your main site. And so what I've learned is that you want to have the minimum viable plugin set up. Having more is not better at all. You're adding, like you said, Chris, complexity to the site, and you want it to run as lean as possible, as efficiently as possible. And sometimes there is reasons to install more plugins, different plugins, but for the most part, you want to look for a system that takes care of all of it. I would echo your statement about Yoast. I think Yoast is phenomenal, as well as is it Akismet?
Yeah, Akismet. I'm not even sure how to say it, and I've been using it for a decade, it feels like.
Yeah, me too. And then that one does save you a lot of pain and stress with the spam bots and whatnot. But those two are pretty bulletproof. I mean, I love what those guys are doing at Automattic and then the Yoast group. But I would say when it comes to LMS systems, just be conscious of what you want to do, whether you're on WP Courseware, WooSensei, the Academy. Well, I guess that's a theme, but still, I mean, you just want to make sure that you're not bogging down your server setup with, a bunch of different plugins, because some of these systems, have e-commerce, some of them don't. Some of them have, just course structuring, no quiz. So you got to maybe figure out how you're going to integrate that. So you just want to be conscious of what you need and then go look for a system that meets that. Obviously, you're not going to, full disclosure, we developed LifterLMS, so we're going to pretty much pitch you on that one all the time. I kind of sorry that I'm not sorry about that, but we're passionate about it. I mean, that's why we stepped out into this space, that we wanted to do things differently. We saw a gap in the market and we wanted to create an end-to-end system. And we think we're approaching it in a very new and different way with getting this incredibly amazing test group of people and listening to their feedback and iterating and moving in directions that they think we should move in. So
absolutely. And just to give a really specific WordPress LMS plugin example, we've gotten a lot of feedback from people who have been using the WP LMS theme, which I've used before and helped people set up. But when you install that WordPress learning management system, you have to, at the moment of installation, install something like 12 other plugins. Mm-hmm. Now, the end result is it makes a nice learning management system, but people start getting confused, and there's just a lot of moving parts there that we've heard a lot of people say when we reach out to the WordPress LMS community that they want an experience not like that. Mm-hmm. And so that was really, the community helped shape our vision for a more minimalist approach, something that's simple, that does the core functionality that we're going to continue to evolve over time, but isn't locked into all these other dependencies to all these other plugins.
Right. I love it. Well, this is a great foundational episode for anyone who's just starting out with their WordPress LMS system and looking at WordPress LMS plugins, or if they already have one, maybe looking to the future and how to refine and make things much more efficient and lean. So good work, Chris. Thanks. I feel really educated now, and I needed that. Any closing thoughts for us today?
Yeah, I would just take the counterpoint real quick and say plugins aren't bad. If you find a plugin and it works well with LifterLMS or with your learning management system theme, and you're like, wow, this is really awesome, it works, I'm not getting any conflict, let us know about it. We want to hear from you. Leave a comment and let us know what you find out. And in some cases, I mean, we're a web development shop, so we actually build our own plugins sometimes just for specific projects. But maybe you see something that a plugin is doing that you want included in LifterLMS, or you just want to share that, hey, what this plugin does is important to the needs of the learning management system community. I just wanted to let you guys know about it. So that's my closing thought. They're not all bad, but I would just encourage minimalism whenever you can.
Absolutely. That's a great point, Chris. All right, guys. Well, until next week, we will see you soon.